Well, the freshman quarterback at Cal, whose name I will not try to pronounce, he looked good.
JKS.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I mean, that
Well, how do
would be.
we...
Just go with
It's
JKS.
Jaren Sangapolutele.
Sanga Polutele?
Yeah.
You're always so good with the poly names.
Yeah.
Well, I work with Nemec, who does the recruiting, and so I hear these guys' names from him first. And
he gives me never-ending hell because we do our little football pod together, and I just go with the nickname. Like I'll just, Nico, DJU, and he's very good at those, and I am not. But yeah, so just JKS works.
Well, he looked good.
Yes, he did. And Oregon State looked
nice player.
They looked bad. They looked real.
Cal, they did. I would say this about again. Here I go again. I'm not going to overreact to Boise or to Oregon State.
Nor should you.
I feel like they have a manageable schedule.
Yes,
that was disappointing. But if you looked at a lot of the before the games, I was looking over some of the guys who just do metrics based on talent and coach, and like Bartu's one of them, and SP Plus. There's a lot of different metrics out there. And they were pretty much all saying Cal had better players than Oregon State.
Yes.
I mean, Cal beat Oregon State 44-7 last year.
Yeah.
Justin Wilcox is a better coach than Trent Bray.
Yes.
And so if you have a better coach and better players, that one, the idea that we talked ourselves into the Beavers, just that's easy. Mm-hmm. I get that Stanford and Cal are down, and we don't have a lot of respect for them now that they're in the ACC and all this. But Cal across the board, better players than Oregon State.
Sure.
They just did. And even this freshman quarterback, that kid beat out the transfer from Ohio State.
Yeah, Devin Brown.
So
and he was actually an Oregon commit and then flipped and
that says something about him right there. He was at Oregon and then he beat out an Ohio State kid for the job. I mean, he looked pretty good. So I think you got to give Cal credit for that. I think they're just a better team than Oregon State. Now that's not saying much. I'm not saying Cal's some 10-win team, but Oregon State has a very manageable schedule.
Yes.
There's a lot of things to clean up. It didn't look great, and it's frustrating because Cal used to be in your conference, and you used to, these are games that you were used to winning.
Yeah.
And so that's 2 years in a row. Cal has kind of thumped you, but at the same time, I think we should slow our roll on the Beavers just being awful.
I think the idea, and I've heard some Oregon State fans saying we were lied to. Well,
about what?
Well, just because there was a lot of positive vibes. We were told that last year was an anomaly. Year 2 under Trent Bray, he was taking over the defense. You spent $1.5 million. You went out and got a real quarterback. The depth was going to be better, and that this was going to be the year that you stabilize things, and that because the schedule was so manageable, a lot of Oregon State fans were thinking, hey, this is a 9, maybe a 10-win team. And we were told last year going into this that, that this was going to be one of the better, group of 5 teams. We were kind of told this, and this is now, it's not 2 years in, but it's a year and now this game where I don't know what you take out of it that's positive, other than, like you said, the schedule is very manageable, and you were favored in this game, and you had a true freshman coming into Reser Stadium. But you want to go the ways it was disappointing, and I get it, Labor Day, late kick, but this is your best home game all year, and no one showed up. I mean, you saw the attendance for it. They weren't even top 10 in the West. I think there was less than 35,000 people that were announced there, and by the way, you look at the crowd, that was the announced attendance. There was not 35,000 anywhere close to it in that stadium. Angie Machado, I thought, wrote a really honest piece about that. Horrible special teams play. Offensive line, dreadful. We were told that this was a team that last year, despite all their struggles, could run the ball. They didn't run the ball at all. This was supposed to be the strength of the team. They had 27 carries for 65 yards. That's less than 2.5 yards a carry. We were told that Malik Murphy was going to be the answer to the passing game. It was not. Through a horrible, had the one pick and should have been a pick 6 going the other way. And what was his big problem were turnovers. And then, for a true freshman to come in and just slice and dice you. I mean, it's one thing to lose this game. It's another thing to not be competitive, look sloppy while doing it. And by the way, you had the worst pass rush in Division I football last year, 7 sacks. That's it for the course of the entire season. Dude, they hit the quarterback twice. They didn't sack him once. Dude, some of those touchdowns that he had early, and granted, I thought the secondary in the second half, and the PFF numbers kind of bared this out, the secondary actually played much better in the second half. But in that first half, dude, he would draw you a map of where he was going. Like you, the whole point of a freshman is you have to heat him up. And now you've got Malik Murphy who's bitching at the offensive coordinator on the sidelines. There's just nothing to take out of that that's positive. And now we look at Fresno State coming in. I thought going into this, you needed to survive these first handful of games. And I think the Fresno State game becomes a must-win. Because if you lose to Fresno State, who, by the way, looked much better than week 1 against Kansas, but Fresno State is not an elite team. Okay, they're not even at least Cal, you can say, hey, they're in the ACC, and like you said, maybe they have better talent than us. If you want to debate that, Fresno State has been a Mountain West team forever. So if you're Oregon State, this becomes a must-win, because if you lose to Fresno State, Texas Tech and Oregon are coming. They're going to beat you by 50. And if you're 0-4 and you're coming off those 2 drubbings, this is, I think, what happened last year. 1, injuries piled up, and I think the team kind of rolled over. And I think the fan base checked out. You have to find a way to beat Fresno State. Then if you can take your 2 losses against Texas Tech and Oregon, and then you got Houston, and you find a way, then the rest of the schedule, there's no one that scares you. Washington State looked terrible too, but you cannot go 0-4 with that kind of momentum heading into the decent part of your the
I guess
winnable
my
part.
question is where did all the hype come from? Like, why do
people talk themselves into
people
it? I guess
who are preseason groupthink
it's scary.
should always be taken with a grain of salt.
Yeah,
It's just everybody thought Alabama was going to roll Florida State. They didn't. Everybody thought Clemson was the best team in the country and LSU wasn't going to win in Death Valley. Well, guess what? LSU won.
Yeah.
Okay. Arch Manning's the next coming, and he can't throw from me to you against Ohio State, and they lose. So I don't understand why people keep falling for the narratives that are perpetuated by. I don't know how that Oregon State narrative got out there. Did we feel bad for Oregon State and we just tried to make them feel better because Oregon's so good?
I think there was an element of that.
Because I don't know. There seemed to be signs of this last year.
Yes.
And now Bray has to be the head coach and the defensive coordinator.
Yes.
Like, that's not good.
No.
So why, I guess it's on you if you buy all this hype. Like, why are you buying this? Just because you want to make yourself feel better? Because none of it was valid.
I was not completely buying into it, but I didn't think it would look like that. I expected better.
Well, again, it can get better.
I expected better.
So
again, Fresno State to me becomes, I know that's weird to say in week 2. I think it is a must-win game for Oregon State. I think it is absolutely a must-win because I know what's coming with Texas Tech and Oregon. You don't have the lead and the pencil to fill out that test with those 2 teams. So you can't go 0-2. You can't find a way to beat Fresno State. And by the way, that should not be a Herculean task to say find a way to beat Fresno State.